As we're joined all the way from Cape Town, South Africa, by my friends, Kendra and David Lucas, founders of Lucas World Travel. We thank you so much for staying up late over there with us today in Africa and joining us. This is our entrepreneurship class here at Velma Jackson High School, and I've got a room full here with me, and we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County schools. Our alma mater, Madison Central High School, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedules for us today.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here.
And just so cool all the stuff you guys are doing, and we'll obviously get to all of it. But just give us a little background, because David, I know you're from Detroit, and then went to Tennessee State, got a really cool degree, and then Kendra, we used to sit next to each other in middle school, and then all these years later, you went to Madison Central, then went to Colorado College, and then came back to Nashville, where you guys met in the healthcare industry. So just give us a little background on that because it's really cool how you guys came together.
Yes. So when I went off to college in Colorado, I chose to study anthropology. So I always loved culture, but I had no idea how I was going to use it. So I actually used it in the healthcare field by doing like surveys with different patients, because a lot of what my college degree was is like talking to different, like I went to Tanzania, for example, to study the
Oh, wow.
Maasai and them about their different cultures and how their culture was represented in the media. So all that doing research and doing surveys was applicable to medical research. So that's how I got into medical research. And I
Wow.
did that for a good 15 years before we sold everything in order to travel. And now I'm using anthropology as, as we go to all these new countries, as a way to kind of dive deeper into the culture and just explore different aspects of it. And then sharing it with people online so they have travel tips and so they know what to expect when they go to these different countries.
Oh, big time.
And for me, let's see, my career has been all over the place. I studied biology in school, got into science, really loved it. I actually went to medical school, but decided I didn't want to be a doctor. So then I left that and I got into business for myself. I was in the mortgage business and the real estate business. And then I decided to go back and do some research work. So I did that for about 8 years. And then I opened up my own real estate company while I was doing that work. And that was about the time, just a little after that, that we decided to sell everything and leave. And now we've been traveling off and on for about 5 years plus. And I think Kendra's been to like 68 countries now. I think
Dang.
I'm at 66 countries now. And this has been a phenomenal learning process for us as well. It's really changed our life, the way we think about, living our life and living our dream. And it's become kind of our norm now. But we know that one day our travels will probably stop and we'll probably do some additional things. Kendra's building business as she goes. I'm actually studying data analytics and QA testing because once we actually find a permanent home, I'm thinking about going back into business for myself. So I want
Wow.
to keep my skills up and I want to have new skills that I can use some other place in the world and still be useful. And so it's challenging to learn and study and at this age and keep going, but it's been great. We're having a phenomenal time while we travel, but we're also, planning on other things long term as well. So
That's awesome. Yeah, and you guys were entrepreneurs before you were doing this because you had your real estate business and Kendra was teaching dance lessons there in Nashville. So you guys always had the hustler mindset. So take us to February of 2020. You guys sold your home, used that to fund your travels for the first 2 years, or 3 years is what you talked about. But then the world shut down and you were stranded in Thailand in the middle of the pandemic.
Hmm. Yeah, so we got maybe 6 weeks worth of normal travel, and then the world shut down. But to me, it was all for the best because being shut down in Thailand was like the best thing that could have ever happened to us. Because The reason why we started this travel journey is because actually 2019, we went to Thailand, and it was the first country we loved enough that we're like, I could live here. This country is amazing. So when we sold everything, started traveling, we weren't going to go back to Thailand. But because of all the borders closing, we're like, if we have to be somewhere, where do we want to be when the borders close? And we chose Thailand, and it was the best decision ever. So we wound up getting student visas so we could stay there a year and a half. We got
Wow.
student visas, and you can learn Thai. And it was the best year and a half ever. So that just reinvigorated our love for travel even more. And you just learn so much, both language wise, culture wise, food wise, when you're really immersed in a culture that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, and a cool thing is, before you guys left, you developed a English language software or
Mm.
course that you were able to have passive income with. And I know you kind of one, it was really you were really proud of it, but two, you were able to grow that while you were traveling in order to create more income. So I think when you look at passive income, you guys have really wrote the book on that on top of traveling. So it really is ways that you can have smart business investments, be an entrepreneur, and still enjoy all the things you're doing.
Yes, the best thing I've ever done business wise was to create an online course. And I use the platform called Udemy. And this is a place where, thousands of teachers put their courses online. And there's millions of students that are shopping for courses there
Wow.
every day. So it's very easy to sell your knowledge. And I made this video course back in 2016, and it still
Wow.
pays me passive income nearly 10 years later. And I
Wow.
don't hardly have to do anything for it. So this is the way we've been able to sustain our travels, even as the savings is dwindling. That passive income is taking care of us. And I do use social media just a little to try to promote it, but it mostly just takes care of itself and
Wow.
runs in the background. So it allows me more time to focus on planning travel and enjoying travel. So I'm not having to spend a full 9 to 5 day just on the English course part.
Yeah,
Now,
that that's
we also
incredible.
have our YouTube channel, and that's a full-time job.
Well, that's what I
YouTube,
want to talk about next because, so many kids, I've lost count. Oh, I want to be an influencer. I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a content creator. And you guys have, up to almost 30,000 followers on YouTube now. You've got views of some of your videos over 250,000. So you guys have definitely done more than 1% of a lot of YouTube influencers. But it's not just like before you were joining us, I was telling the class, it's not just let me turn on a camera and make some money. There's a lot of planning going on. You have some editing, and then you have your voiceover you do after you guys have your day out. And I know Kendra does a lot of the voice, David does a lot of the filming, and you guys work together with that, and it's turned out really good. So for all these future influencers that are in Madison County schools, talk about how difficult it really is to get that going.
So there are so many variables involved when you do YouTube. Like for some people, it's very easy because they have the personality for it. I was not born with that magnetic camera personality, unfortunately. So instead, I like to sell my videos by the quality of the information I share. So I focus on being a teacher a lot, a teacher about travel, about tips, about culture. And that's the reason why our channel is growing, because we provide the most valuable information in the travel
Yeah.
sphere. But there's so many different aspects. You can focus on, just interesting topics like your unique perspective on something, just on beautiful imagery or artistry. So there's many different ways. Anything you're passionate about, from sports to your job, anything at all can become a source of income on YouTube. And I have seen my channel uh like it accelerates so fast and then it like slows down and accelerates and then slow down. So it's like a little bit of a roller coaster you're riding when you're doing both, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. But it's also so exciting. So, like, even though it's a lot of work, I say it's the full-time job, whereas, and it doesn't even earn as much as the passive income from the English lessons. It's definitely a passion. So, if you have a passion for sharing any ideas you have, then it's an exciting field to get into.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
I'd like to encourage your students too, because the more that we've been YouTubers for a few years, I've seen that a lot of the youngsters out there start on something really, really small, and they're willing to accept that, that YouTube doesn't really pick it up very fast. But here's the thing, when they start out really young, they tend to get better and better and better as they
That's a
go.
great point.
Their following starts to pick up. And then pretty soon they're being invited to do shows and other things. And because they have an interest, maybe in sports, photography, film, plays, rapping, clothes, different things. I mean, I've seen people do all kinds of things that they really, really, truly love. And because of that, over time, it starts to take off. So I would just suggest, because I suggest this to kids in my family, it's like, if you want to do something like that, just commit yourself to it, try it, see if you like it, try it for a while, give it a time though, give it maybe a month, 6 months,
Years.
a year or two, and say, hey,
Years.
I'm just going to make a couple of quick everyday films or once a week films and just put it out there. And here's the other thing. As much as we love people to love us, not everybody's going to love us. That's expected in any kind of business. Not everybody's going to love you. So, but you have to understand in business also, I know it kind of sounds weird, but even when people don't like you, but they're still watching you on YouTube, you're still kind of making money.
Yes.
So some people, believe it or not, some people will watch a show even though they don't like the show. And because they're watching it, you're still making something out of it. So I just want to encourage students, because I know they get a lot of flack from sometimes even from teachers, right? They get a lot of flack from parents, get a lot of flack from teachers, they get a lot of flack from each other. But I want to encourage, because I used to be a teacher, so I know. But I want you to encourage the students to just, hey, if there's something like that you want to try, whether it's YouTube or something else, because if you're a gamer, gaming's big. If
Yeah.
you race cars, or if you ride bikes, or you ride motorcycles, or you do different types of things, all of those things are big for certain groups of people. So just find something you like and put it out there and see what happens. It might work out. It might just open another door for you down the line. So it just could be a thing like that. I will say that the futures are changing. Technology is changing. And sometimes as adults, we don't keep up, but the young
Yeah.
people know what's going on, so they can get involved with that and they can make small businesses out of that. And that's
Yeah.
very helpful for you. It's helpful for your family. It's helpful for your community. So I challenge you guys to just look around and see what you like, and just try putting it out there and see what happens. Because I'm
That's
not
a
a person who loves to be in front. I don't love to be in front of the camera. I really don't.
Yeah, I
She
make
does.
him. I make him.
She does. I don't want to be on everybody's TV set. I'm not that person. But I'll tell you this, I've learned a lot over the years, and I see that there's message of encourage, there's some really powerful encouraging that can go on when people are willing to step out and help other people and tell them their story. That's a powerful tool. Storytelling is a very powerful tool, and anybody can do it. And your story, your personal story, helps other people. So that's a powerful thing that I have to get used to, because I don't want to be in front of the camera, but I do want people to be encouraged.
Yeah, and that's a great point because one of you guys' most viewed videos was about you guys learning to swim. And it is amazing how many people could have seen that maybe were afraid to afraid to swim. Maybe they were afraid of the water, but you guys talked about overcoming your fear of that. And even though it's not one of your travel walkthroughs, it was an extremely popular video for you guys.
Yes,
Let me tell you
yes.
this. Kendra and I have now been swimming in the ocean, right, for years. Now we've swam with whale sharks. We've swam with dolphins.
That was
And
amazing.
as of last week, I think it was, we've swam with seals
Seals.
out in the
Wow.
ocean, big
In
giant
very
waves.
big, deep water, huge waves. It's like I cannot believe I'm out here. But it's like when I conquer a fear, man, I'm gonna conquer.
It happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. And I was terrified going out there. She'll tell you, I was the one that was terrified. When I got in the water, I was fine. When she got out there, she was like, this is a little scary,
The seals were a little scary.
Yeah, but that's just a perfect example of, you guys have some incredible walkthroughs of the trips you've been on, but right there, that was just something somebody could use. And again, but you guys also focus on useful information, ways people can save money, things people need to pack, things people need to know. So, how have you really decided what to put in the content? Because obviously, you're limited with time, you're limited with people's attention, and you're limited with resources.
Yes, so there are so many videos I want to make that I haven't made yet, simply due to time. But we're on this journey anyway because there's so many different countries we want to see. So after we go to the country, we're like, okay, how do we split this up in the most useful videos? So usually we do like a city guide and then the things you should know before you go to some place. And we'll sometimes do like, because I also have a written form of our travel channel, the blog. So I'll write down the best places to stay there. So I usually have about maybe 6 or 8 different video ideas per country and just slowly make those videos. So yeah, and then we like to talk about what it's like living in the places you travel. So the past year, we've been spending a month in each location. So that's a whole different lifestyle than like just going on vacation and spending 3 days or 7 days in a place. So we like to make those digital nomad videos so that if for those people who work remotely and are going to be like a month in Tokyo, well, what's that like? What's your budget so they can know how much it would cost to spend a month in Tokyo. So we like to do that for each country as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like for Instagram Reels and for YouTube Shorts, we make little short clips of just like one activity we might do for the day. And that's the way we can like show off the little smaller things that we do versus the big whole city guides. So
Because my
there's
favorite
a
was the
lot.
bobsled thing y'all were riding in South Korea. That looked like a lot of fun. The little
Oh,
go-karts.
that was
The luge, that was
the
nice.
luge. It was a
That
blast.
was cool, guys. You would like that.
Yeah,
For me,
it looked like a lot of.
for me,
I'll go
I'm
ahead.
not yeah, I'm not as detailed as Kendra. Kendra's amazing with that stuff. She knows, she keeps track of it. She's on it. For me, when I go into a space, I like to take it in and see how it made me feel. Like, how do I feel when I see the pyramids for the first time?
Oh
You
man.
know, how do I feel driving a go-kart through Tokyo, with all this amazing stuff going on? How do I feel on a speedboat that's bouncing up and down in the water, like something you'd see on YouTube or like something you'd see on National Geographic. Oh, let me give you this. We just went on a safari. So how do you feel when you first see a lion out in the wilderness, in his habitat, in his home? And how do you feel when you see a group of lions for the first
Man,
time? And
I would love that.
they're not in a zoo, okay?
Wow.
Okay, yeah. How does that feel? So for me, it's more of an energy thing of, wow, I have an imagination, right? I have an imagination when I see this stuff on TV or something. But when you actually see it in real life, like real 3D in front of you, it kind of takes control of all your senses, everything, and you're right in the middle of it, and it's real life, you know. So that to me is exciting. That's why I think I'm on the trip.
Yeah, and I was just so jealous when you guys got to see Machu Picchu. But I remember I talked about this last time. I thought it was so cool. I got to see Chichen Itza before you guys did because I was even thinking, man, this is something else. And Dave and Kendra hadn't even been here yet, so I know exactly what that feeling is like. So
We still haven't
I,
gotten there. You
hey,
still
hey,
Got a
when
full
you do,
year.
you will come back and say, man, you were right because it is a pain in the butt to get there, but kind of like Machu Picchu, but it's one of the things it was worth it. So it really is. So David, I agree 100%. It really is about that experience and having that feeling. That is just something that I've gotten to experience to a little extent, not like you have, but I do have some really good questions here because they've been dying to have these and they've loved your videos so far. And I love this first one. This is Shundra Black. She's in 10th grade. And she asked, have you ever experienced culture shock and how did you handle it?
yes, all the time. So I think when we just recently went to this small kingdom called
Ooh,
Lesotho,
yes.
and it's a small country inside of South Africa, and it's its own kingdom.
Yeah.
And we knew next to nothing about it when we went there.
Ooh.
And as soon as we crossed the border, the men there, they're like sheep herders and cattle herders. They wear these beautiful blankets
Gorgeous.
and these fancy hats and these rubber boots, these white rubber boots. I know it doesn't sound like it works together, but it works together. And it was just so cool to see them on their horses and on their donkeys and herding the sheep.
Wow.
And their houses were so beautiful. There are these round houses made of stone, and they have straw roofs, and it's like humble, but it's beautiful. Like when we were there, it felt like we were in an elven village. It was so beautiful because all of their little round huts are on the hills. So you got huts here on the hill, huts here on the hill, and the landscape is just so
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Beautiful mountains.
And their
Gorgeous.
lives are just,
Very
they're
simple.
very rural. They're just farming, they're just herding their cattle. Their lives are simple, but it was so beautiful. And when we were going on like a horseback ride with them, we're like, do you know how beautiful your country is? And they're like, no, this is just normal for us. And it was just, I've never been anywhere anywhere quite like that. I think that's one of my favorite villages in Africa.
Yeah.
It was so incredible.
Kendra was like, do you think they know how cool they look? And I'm like, I don't know if they know it, but they are cool.
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing this video.
Actually, I read this and it was really cool. If you've ever seen the movie Black Panther and you
Yeah.
see the guy wearing these wool, beautiful garments, they got that idea from them. And
Wow.
it's really, yeah. They got a lot of these cultural aesthetics for the movie from kingdoms like this. We went to another kingdom like this that's called Eswatini.
Yep.
Very beautiful place, very beautiful place. The the embroidery and all the garments that the ladies wore for their traditional stuff, like the beading and all, very beautiful stuff. And we were just like mind blown.
Oh, and another thing that shocked us about Lesotho is, we watched their traditional dances, and some of the men's dances are exactly like stepping. So you know how the college fraternities and the
Wow.
HBCUs just be, doing their steps. Well, it's exactly like what the men in
Yeah.
Lesotho do. And the thing is, I don't even think like they were influenced by one another. I just think that was instinctual in them. And I was like, this is so crazy that it's
Wow.
so similar.
Yeah.
So,
So speaking of culture shock, we actually saw some guys playing some rudimentary instruments. One of the instruments looked like a guitar, but it was like a detergent jug and
yeah.
all this kind of stuff. And they were playing pots kind of a thing. And I was like, wow. Because, we were living in Nashville and we've heard for years that all these different types of music come from Africa, right? And then you see this and you're like, oh my goodness, look at this. This is just like, you know, the guys that play, what is it called? The banjos, like the banjos and
Wow.
stuff,
Yeah.
the banjos and stuff that this, so the sound was just like that. And you're like, oh man, this is crazy. This is really bluesy.
Mm.
This is really artsy. So it's something like that. So just like Kendra was saying, thousands of years ago, these guys were playing this type of music, doing these type of dances, doing these kind of things, and it's transcended into our fraternities and all these other things, which is really interesting. I find it interesting.
Wow.
Mhm.
I love this question. This is Shanaria Lewis. She's in 10th grade. And she asked, how do you balance work, finances, and travel? And how do you decide where to go next?
Uh,
That's a good
so
question.
yeah. So we try to still do like a regular work week. So try to do maybe 4 days on and then 3 days focusing on travel because still travel is a little bit of work for us. So we'll spend 4 days working on YouTube videos, social media, and promoting courses. And then maybe 3 days sightseeing, going out and experiencing local food and all the different sites. Um, and then, yeah, so that's pretty much how the week goes. A lot of times, like for example, we were on a road trip in South Africa. Well, when we're doing something like that, it's like an all-day thing. So there's no time for work at all. But the good thing is, like I said, we've done passive income first with our Udemy courses. And that's what allows us to, take 2 weeks off and then focus on just doing the travel all alone. But here we're in Cape Town, we're here for a month. So we're more, we have a more regular schedule. So we still do kind of like the 9 to 5 schedule when we're here.
I will point this out though, and that is some countries are more expensive than others. So what we
Yeah.
try to do there, we might say, instead of spending a month there, we'll spend 2 weeks there, that kind of thing. Or we'll say, okay, we'll try to find a less expensive place to live in that location that's still close to the things we want to see and want to do. That just kind of maintains the budget. But believe it or not, here's the thing that surprises me most times is that because everything is so expensive in America, we still end up spending about what we were spending to live in America, even though it feels like we're on a vacation the whole time, right? So I know it's hard to wrap your brain around that, but just think of it like this. In America, if I spent $4,000 a month for my house, my car, my clothes, my shoes, my fuel, my food, everything like that, but then I go to South Africa and I spend the same amount of money, I'm still on budget, right? I'm still spending the same amount of money. If I have the same amount coming in and pretty much the same amount going out, I kind of have the same budget. So as long as we maintain that, we're pretty much okay. We have some coming in, we have some going out. We can stay pretty steady. But there's places that are too expensive to stay long term. They get
Wow.
really
That's a great
expensive.
point. Yeah. And after seeing your video, I know you're not going to house sit again after the cat bite.
No,
Yeah.
I don't want to be back. We
No.
have friends that actually do that. They go places and they house it, and so they get to stay there for almost free in some of those places. So, but no.
We may try it again. That was just one bad cat.
That was just a funny story. But I got time for two more. This is Quenisha Kennedy. She's in 11th grade. And she asked, how do you adapt your body to all the time changes? And has there ever been a place you were hesitant to go?
Hmm.
Good
Okay.
question.
So especially when we go to Asia, that's always going to be jet lag. But what we do now is just allow 1 to 2 days to rest when we go on a really long flight that's like 24, 26 hours. So that's how we recover. And what was the second part of that one?
Has there ever been a place you were hesitant to go?
Mm.
Every place. I am nervous about every single new country we go to. And what's good about travel is once the first couple of days are over with, I feel comfortable. Like, and I realized that all my worries and anxieties were really for no reason. Is there any place you were hesitant to go?
There are places we do have to choose for our safety and other things. There are places in the world, because the world is vast, but the world also have a lot of political things going on all the time. You do have to pick and choose where you can go and when, okay?
Yeah,
Now, just because the news says that this place isn't safe doesn't mean that it's true,
that's
okay?
true. That's a great point.
You have to really read up and really find out and ask people with feet on the ground. And fortunately for us over the years, because we're YouTubers, we know other YouTubers and people who've been to places and say, oh no, that we had a great time there. You can go there. It's not what you think. It's not what people say. And you can go there and be fine. And so we might go to a place that people might say, oh, you shouldn't go right now, because her mom will say, I don't think you should go there right now. And we look up and do the research and find out, oh, well, we can go right now. This is a good time to go. But a lot of times in the US, for example, we don't get all the on the ground information. We get bits and pieces. So that's just like saying, if you got a piece of, if you have a huge cake in front of you, but you can only have one little slice of it, and that is supposed to tell you what the whole cake is like. So that doesn't work. So you have to do your own research and put your feelers out and see if you can go to this place or that place. And so that's how we usually decide whether we feel that a place is good enough and we can go with it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
But
because, for example, when we were starting this year in Africa, I was anxious about that. But we got here, we got to Morocco. I was like, this is cool. I can do this. We got to South Africa, which is technically has some dangerous cities now.
oh
But
yeah,
we got here, like, this is cool. I can do this. So it's more of like once you see it and experience it, you feel like you can take it on. It's helpful to be knowledgeable about the risk involved, but I always find that the places are way safer and more enjoyable than the news lets on. So
here you go.
And the cities in Africa are amazing. Like I just stood on the tip just the other day. I stood on the tip of South Africa, which is like, if you look at the map of Africa, right? Down at the bottom, I stood right on the edge right there of the world.
Cape of
Okay.
Good Hope. Yep.
The only thing below that is Antarctica. So I stood right there on the tip, and it's beautiful. All the waves are coming in and all that stuff. It's gorgeous.
Wow.
And you wouldn't know that. You just wouldn't know that by the news and all these other things that's going on. You just have to get out there and find it out for yourself. Be
That's
curious.
incredible. I got time for one more, and this is a great one to end on. And this is Jacayla Cross. She's in 10th grade, learning Korean, wants to live in South Korea, loves Asian culture. And she asked, what is the most unforgettable place you visited together?
Ooh.
oh, mine is the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador. That one is always going to be my favorite because there we like the animals are everywhere. The animals
Oh, yeah.
control the islands. And there's sea lions when you're walking down the street and you get to swim with the sea lions and the sharks and the fish. And it is just such an incredible experience. They even have a few penguins there. So I found the island so charming. And yeah, that was my most special place in the world.
For me, I had always wanted, I'm big into anime, I'm big into everything Japanese, I'm big into samurais, I'm big into swords, I'm big into all of this stuff. So for me, it was going to Tokyo, it was going to Japan, and experiencing all these beautiful, beautiful temples and shrines, going there to all the many, all those houses that look real, like
Oh yeah.
samurais up there kind of stuff, and you learn that history and all of that. For me, it's that. And then Tokyo, in and of itself, is one of my favorite places. Like I said, driving a go-kart through Tokyo, that kind of stuff. When you go there, definitely do that. If you're a fan of Naruto, Jojo Kaisen,
Even Dragon Ball Z.
Demon Slayers, all of that. If you're into anime, Japan is your place.
Wow.
It's phenomenal. Yeah, it's phenomenal. The ramen
Yeah,
is
it's a place I would love to go as well. Just incredible. Well, we're almost out of time, and we thank you guys so much again for joining us. I just always enjoy this. It's just so incredible what all you're doing. But a few things before we go. First of all, lucasworldtravel.com is the website. All of your written travel guides are there. All the links to your videos and your social media is really cool stuff. We've showed it in class. And like you said, you've got travel guides for North America, Caribbean, Europe, Asia, and you're working on the one for Africa. So really interesting travel stuff, whether you want to travel full time or not. If you want to visit any of these places, you guys have great have great content for that. So I encourage everybody to follow you guys. But the last thing before we go, I was telling the kids, you know, it doesn't matter where you start from. I was telling them, and I was joking. I said I never thought when I was sitting next to Kendra in seventh grade at Rosa Scott that all these years later we'd be talking to her and she'd be in Africa with her husband talking about their incredible full-time travel business. So I'm sure she didn't think so either. But
Didn't
she's
come in either, y'all.
But but it just goes to show you that if you really have the mind, you put your mind to it, you really can accomplish anything, no matter where you are. So as these kids get ready to matriculate through high school and start making decisions after high school, whether they want to go to college or start their own business, because a lot of them already have some really good business ideas. What are some obstacles that they could face, but also know that they can overcome it and be just as successful as you guys?
Can I start that one out?
Oh,
I
go
want
ahead.
to I want to say this. For all the kids, I want you to understand something that I learned ages ago. I forget which teacher taught me this, and I won't take too long. Everything starts in your mind. It really does. It starts in your head. Everything does. So taking time every day to really center and clear your mind, that's one thing. And I'm very visual. So what I did, and Kendra will verify, I used to have a big white, what do you call it, paper board. It was my vision board. And I would just put pictures of things I want on it, the cars I like, the games I like, the computer, the chair, the stereo I liked. Anything I liked, I'd put on that vision board and I'd keep it in my office. And I believed in that so much that I made one for home and I made one to take to work with me. And people would make fun of me and say, "You're never going to that country. You're never going to go there. You're never going to do that." And those same people are looking at me on YouTube now and saying, "David went there. David saw the pyramids. David's been
I love
swimming
it.
with whale sharks, and David's been doing this." And now, here's the thing. That's not to make fun of anybody, and that's not to belittle the people at my previous job. But the thing is, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself, believe you're going to do it. And also, when people come to deny you, you don't have to get upset. Just say, "No, I'm going to do that."
Yeah, and I agree with that. I feel like my biggest obstacle has always been self-doubt. So always thinking, is this actually going to work? Am I actually going to be successful with this business? But I find that if you just put the hours in, if you set your schedule, if you say, okay, I'm going to work on this business 8 hours a day, even if it's 4 hours a day, or only 2 hours a day, if you can only do it part-time. So just stick to your schedule and work with it with your whole heart. You'll make some progress. So don't let just like he wouldn't let other people talk him out of his dreams. Don't let yourself, your own self-doubt talk you out of following your dream.
And these days we call that grit. We call it grit. That means that when somebody tells you you can't do something, you say, no, I'm going to do something. I'm going to make it happen for myself. I'm worth it and I'm going to make it happen. And it means that, and it's the same thing that Michael Jordan did, guys. Michael Jordan didn't get picked for his high school basketball team. Michael Jordan didn't get picked for his basketball team. One of the greatest players ever in the world, right? So you just have to keep going, keep going, keep
Put the
going.
time in, put the reps
Yeah,
in.
just do it. And I think that there's not enough people. You don't have to have the greatest IQ. You don't have to be the smartest person. You don't have to have the greatest grades in school. You can just say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to work every day and do something every day until I get there. And it happens. The world, if you don't change enough, still the world will change for you.
There you
Because
go.
you believe in it enough that the world would just change for you so you can be there. And I just believe that with all my being now, because I've seen this happen for me my whole entire life. It's happened for me my whole entire life because I think that way. And I think that if you quiet your mind, even when your mom or dad or friends are yelling at you, quiet your mind and tell yourself what you want this experience, what this life to be. Because look at us. Look at what we look like. Do we look like a bunch of rich people? We're not we don't look like a bunch of rich people, do we? You know, we just said, hey, we're going to go do this and make it happen. And I think that if you have the courage and the discipline and just don't accept no, you're just going to go and you're going to do phenomenal things. I tell my kids, you're going to do more things than I do. Look at all the stuff I've done, but you're going to do way more than what I do. Right. So I just want the guys and the ladies to understand. Because back when I was growing up, it was a man's world, but now it's anybody's world. We all live in our own world. You create your world. So create your world. Start creating your world now. You can do it. I believe that.
Love it. Love it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the new content out. I encourage everybody to go follow you guys, Lucas World Travel on all platforms. David and Kendra Lucas, all the way from Cape Town, South Africa. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank
It's a
you for having
pleasure.
us. Thank you for having
I'll
us.
talk to you guys soon.